Hey guys, it's Chris Hernandez from Houston Comic Photography, and I hadn't been around for a while, but I've been taking a lot of pictures. I wanted to show you one of my favorite cameras that I got a couple of years ago. Used it a couple of times. I need to use it a lot more, and that is the Kodak Medalist II, nicknamed the American Leica, and it was said to be built like a tank. So this camera was originally designed during World War II. It was immediately adopted by the Navy as a combat photographer's camera. Here's a few pictures of it. I wasn't able to find any pictures of American troops using them. I did find artist depictions. I did find this picture with British troops with one. But it was very popular, very durable, took fantastic pictures. And after World War II, the Kodak upgraded the original Medalist to the post-war Kodak Medalist II. So some minor differences. Some of the Kodak Medalist ones had they had a black finish to help protect from, I think, from salt water. They had a fine focusing knob down here, which in the Medalist II that was replaced with a flash sync socket. But essentially it's the same camera. So the Medalist II was made from, I believe, 1946 to 1953. So this is a late 40s, early 50s camera. Still works fantastic. And let's talk about the different features on this. So first, this is a very, very sturdy, very heavy. It weighs about 3¼ pounds. Aluminum construction. It has a 100mm Ektar 3.5 lens that stops down to f/32. It has shutter speeds from bulb to 1/400th of a second. It had pretty interesting. The back, it can open up from either side, or you can completely remove the back for ease of loading. And there also, I don't have one, but there is an adapter that goes on the back that allows you to use ground glass, allows you to use plates and sheet film holders. So that's pretty cool. And to close it, once you put the back on, you just press it and it snaps back into place. So pretty neat. It has 2 tripod sockets on the bottom in kind of weird spaces or weird places. I don't know why it's there, why they're in those places. And it has a combination rangefinder and viewfinder. So here you have your rangefinder windows up front. There's your combined window right there. When you look through it, at the top, you're going to have your just viewfinder for composing. At the bottom is your rangefinder, and you've got an upper and lower part that you're matching up in order to get your image in focus. So pretty cool system. Okay, it is a 620 camera, not a 120 camera. So essentially 620 and 120, it's the same. The film itself is the same. It's just on different spools. So here's a 620, here's a 120. The 620 is slightly smaller. It's got a smaller diameter, which means that you cannot put 120 film rolls into an unmodified Kodak Medalist. Now you can have them modified. I think it costs a couple of $100. You can have it modified to where they bore out the film chambers so that it will accept the 120 rolls. Or you could just get a dark bag and unroll 120 film, re-roll it onto a 620 spool. I've done it numerous times. It is easy. If you look online, some people say, no, it's too hard, I don't want to do that. I don't know why. There's nothing hard about it. It is simple. It takes a few minutes, like 5 minutes, and I'll make another video about how to do that sometime. So, but it does add a little bit of a complication. It does add a little bit of cost. Say if you're going to go shoot an event, you want to use a Kodak Medalist, you're going to have to buy, say, 3 or 4 620. Let's say if you want to take 3 rolls to shoot with, then you're going to need to buy, say, 4 620 spools. Because you need the take-up one, and then you're going to have to re-roll your 3 rolls onto your 120 onto your 620 spools. So, it's just a little extra something. You also have to keep in mind This camera is dedicated 6x9, so you're only going to get 8 shots per roll of 120 film. Okay, just something to keep in mind. All right, so let's talk about the loading procedure. This is not a very complicated camera to load, but I'm going to completely take the film back off here, or take the back off the camera. Okay, you take a 620 spool and you put it on the take-up side over here. Seems to be, this camera does seem to be a little fiddly on taking the spools. Not horribly difficult. This one over here, there's, on the side where it feeds from, there's this little roller that slides out of the way. So you just put the roll of film in there. That thing should slide out of the way, and of course it's not going to right now. There you go. All right. All right, so now that's in there. Pull it across, the normal thing. This is, you know, not unusual, not difficult. Feed it into the take-up spool. Turn the knob, take up the tension. All right, once it starts taking up the tension, you got it nice and tight on the back. Replace the back of the camera. Okay, and now you have this red window right here. This, it slides open with a little spring-loaded cover. So what you do is you hold that open and you advance your film until you get to where the number 1 is just on the right side of the window. Okay, I'm getting there, I'm getting there, I'm getting there. Got arrows, got arrows, got arrows. Okay, got more arrows, got dots. And there's the 1. Okay, so the 1 right now is just here, right at the edge of the window. So you can close that. I should have mentioned your film counter is up here. It should have been at 0 when you started doing that. I assumed you just finished a roll and you were on 0. Anyway, once you have gotten that number 1 to the side of the window, you turn that film counter to get to the number 1. And then, once you're at the number 1, you turn this knob just a little bit, like a quarter turn. Now your number 1 is going to be right there in the middle of the window, and you're ready to go. Okay, kind of. Now if you forget to put it on the 1, it's just going to keep going, advancing all the way. You have to put it at 1 and then do that quarter turn, and that gets you set. All right, now on using this thing. Okay, to use this, you have this expanding, the lens expands on these 2, I think they're called helicoids. Okay, so that's how you extend it out for close focus. Here you get back. You are going to know when the camera is in the range to where you can use it by this depth of field scale here. And if you watch closely as I'm expanding out, once the depth of field scale starts moving, now your camera is actually ready to use. I am told if you try to operate this camera with the lens collapsed, you can damage it. If you don't extend it out to where that depth of field scale engages, you can damage it. I've never tried to do anything like that, but just so you know, make sure that you've expanded it to where you've engaged your depth of field scale before you actually take pictures. Okay, also, once you have cocked the shutter, it's not a good idea to change the shutter speed, generally speaking, once it's cocked, but definitely don't move it to a 400th of a second after it's been cocked, because you can damage the mechanism. Now, so here's an interesting thing on this camera. If you advance the film, it's supposed to, at each frame, it's supposed to cock the shutter. And if you just advance the film and then you go to take a picture, you're going to hear this very faint click. Okay, and now it's you can't press it again, you can't press the shutter release again, it's acted like it took a picture. So you might think, wow, that's a really quiet shutter. And no, it's not. You actually didn't take the picture because my understanding is that the film base that was used back during World War II in that era was much thicker, and it would engage the mechanism inside the camera, and it would cock the shutter as you advance the film. The film that we use today is not, and so you have to use a secondary method to cock the shutter, and that is this little lever right here. Okay, it's right there by the viewfinder. You just pull that out, let it go. Now you have cocked the shutter. You definitely heard that fire, right? Okay, so so for operation of the camera then is just you advance to your next frame. It's going to stop automatically. It just stopped at 2. Cock the shutter, and now compose and take your picture. Focus, compose, take your picture. All right, this does have provision for a shutter cable release right here. It just looks like a hole right there. You just screw this in and you use shutter cable release on a tripod. Double exposures. This would have built-in protection for double exposures, but since you're using this lever to cock the shutter every time anyway, you can just take a picture, recock it, take another picture, and you can do your double exposures. Okay. So now you know the basics on this camera. This is one of the coolest cameras I have ever used for a reenactment. Last year I took it to one of the events at the National Museum of the Pacific War in Fredericksburg, Texas, and I shot a roll with it, a couple of rolls with it, and it's very easy to use. Like I said, it is heavy. You could literally take it by this strap and swing it and beat someone to death with it in a hand-to-hand combat situation, just like in this comic from World War II. And it would very likely work just fine afterwards. So running around with it it's a little bit heavy, but it's not as ungainly as carrying around a speed graphic, and I do that with no problem. So it was cool to use. And of course, when I was shooting the World War II reenactment, just like every time, I'm using hyperfocal distance focusing. So I am not looking through and trying to focus each shot. You can't do that with all that movement. I looked up on the digital depth of field app, medium format 6x9 with a 100mm lens, and I saw that if I focus it at 30 feet and I'm at f/16, then all my shots, everything from about 14 feet to infinity, is going to be in focus. So I'm just looking through here to compose, compose my image, take the picture, advance the film to the next frame, cock the shutter, I'm ready to go again. It's very quick, but only issue in that you only have 8 shots, so you better not screw any up. You don't have a lot. Another thing that I just recently did with this camera, I took pictures here in this room. The two kinds of photography that I really love, I love doing World War II reenactments, and I love doing kind of vintage pin-up-y sort of pictures. I got to be real careful because I'm extremely happily married and I don't want to mess that up. On the plus side, my favorite model is my wife. So I recently ran a roll through this because I decided I want to try this on a tripod, shooting portraits inside this room that's dark and shadowy. And it wound up being a gigantic pain in the ass to focus, because the mirror in the focusing mechanism, part of it's dark. So it's like I'm not getting you're trying to match up two halves of an image, you get them to where they align. Well, the bottom half is half black. Okay? So it was very hard actually lining that up, and I kind of thought I was screwing up every picture, and then I developed them and found out, well, holy crap, I really only had one of them out of focus, and all the rest were good. So here's an example of one of them. If I was doing these outside in sunlight, it would have been no problem at all. It's just that, as I've said before, I'm an idiot. I love shooting in the dark, real dark, shadowy, moody kind of pictures. So this camera is good for all of it. It's good whether you want to be outside doing action shots. It's good if you want to be inside taking beautiful portraits. And even if, like, say your rangefinder mechanism was completely screwed, who cares? Use it as its own focus camera and just take a tape measure from the end of your lens to your subject and dial that in on the depth of field scale, and bam, you're going to be in focus. So anyway, it is a fantastic camera. It is kind of the pinnacle of American camera manufacturing of the World War II era and post-war. This is probably one of the best medium format cameras ever made. It will very likely still be working long after I'm dead and gone. And prices on these, I mean, I just looked them up on eBay, and the sold prices I saw were anywhere from $135 to over 600. Over 600 is insane. I actually bought this for it was like $100 buying this with another camera, and I immediately turned around and sold the other camera, so I effectively got this for like $25. You know, the bargains are out there. You just got to look for them. But if you run across one of these at a good price and you like medium format shooting, I would highly suggest you get one of these. This is just an awesome, badass piece of American, it's an American mechanical masterpiece and a piece of our military history. So if you get one, take some shots, let me know how it goes, and I'd love to see what kind of work you all do. So until next time, I am Chris Hernandez, Houston Combat Photography. Go out and take some cool pictures.